Okay, so you are in your final stage of pregnancy, and in this stage, we really want to focus on releasing the pelvic floor as much as we can. It's okay to still be doing strengthening moves through the rest of your body, but specifically for the pelvic floor, we want to be thinking about opening in your last month or so of pregnancy. So I'm going to show you some moves. You're going to want a foam roller, and if you have a big ball like this, great. Otherwise, it's okay, you can do the moves that I do on the ball without the ball. But we're going to start here. If you don't have a ball, be in a seated position on a chair, and we're going to start with pelvic tilts. So first, you're going to let your tailbone reach back, arching your back, and then curling under. Okay? You will feel limited this far along in pregnancy with how far you can go in each direction because the belly is pretty big, right? But just taking this, curling under, big opening as you go back. We're warming up the pelvis and the spine. Let's go for a few more. So the idea here with these release moves is we're going to try and release a lot of surrounding muscles of the pelvis that can cause pulling on the pelvis and cause restriction or tightening. All right, now we're gonna draw circles with the tailbone. So try and let your pelvis circle out to the side, curling under and around. Just nice big circles. And then switch direction. Breathing is also one of the most important ways we can release the pelvic floor, you guys, but I'm assuming you've been doing that in the other videos that you've been watching of mine. And we'll go one more time. Okay, now we're going to use the ball for one more move here. Or you can lean over a chair. So we want the feet or the knees out wide, and you're gonna lay head and chest on top of the ball here. And I have my knees wide, my toes pointed in, and I'm just gonna take some really nice deep breaths here. If you have any tightness in your core, you will feel it as you breathe deeply here and try and let the belly release. You can feel where your belly, your body, your baby is wanting to grow and expand, making room for the baby's growth. And as you breathe here, breathe into your pelvis as well, your pelvic floor on your inhale, creating space in your pelvis, and exhale, just release. Try to let go of any tension. Good. Then we're going to stay here, but bring the knees in toward each other with the feet pointed out. Okay? And you can kind of shift your weight back a little bit if that feels good. Not a drastic position here. You want this to still feel comfortable, so don't try to push your feet out too wide, nothing that's uncomfortable. But same thing here, feel in this position, you should feel your sits bones are opening more. So right here at the end of my pelvis, they are spreading. I'm going to breathe into that as I relax here. Still letting the belly fall nice and heavy. Should feel good. I'm going to go one more breath. All right, great. That's also a great move for releasing your abdominal wall to make room for baby. Okay, let's grab the foam roller. And we're going to start on top of the foam roller by releasing the glutes. So just go ahead and sit on top with your feet out in front. And I'm I'm just gonna roll around here on my glutes, maybe a little bit on the bottom of my low back, or kind of where my glutes attach into my back. If you have a lot of back pain, or you know you feel tight in your low back, do that as well, because that can also affect your pelvis. But definitely roll into the glutes and notice if you have any tight spots there that need extra attention. If you find a spot, you want to hold it for about 10 seconds and give that little knot time to release, and then roll again. So a foam roller is basically trying to iron knots out of your fascia and your muscles. And when you have a knot, right, that's going to create pulling and shortening of your muscles, which you can imagine can then create pulling on one side of your pelvis. So feel free to stop anywhere you need on this side. Maybe go into your low back a little bit. You don't have to spend a lot of time with this, you guys. I try and do this a couple times a week, doing some pelvis release work. Okay, now I'm gonna straddle the roller, starting with my knees down and out wide, and kind of rolling side to side here. So find what position feels okay to you with your legs, your knees, and you can just sit right on top like this. Take some deep breaths in. You can also start going side to side. It can feel pretty tender, so respect that. Work with your body. It's okay if you feel that, it's pretty normal. So we're doing some perineum massage here too. You can kind of start leaning back and working more into the perineum. Working that out a little bit. So we want this area to be nice and loose, right? So, because that's where the baby's coming out of. And it can help reduce tearing also. Okay, so that's one way. Then we're gonna bring the feet out in front. Okay, so sitting on top back like this. This one is more intense. So I'm gonna take my hands back behind and my feet out in front and try, so we can start kind of like this and then start working your weight forward. This is challenging, not only because my belly is big, but mobility wise, and also because it's really tight. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of pressure there and work side to side. If it feels okay to you, let's see if I grab my ball for support. You can move forward more on top of the roller, however that works for you, okay? Don't feel like you have to push it. Find what works, massaging that out a bit. Alrighty, now I'm gonna swing my legs off to the side for some adductor work. Not so easy to swing your legs off to the side, is it? Okay, so I'm gonna start on my hamstrings like this, rolling down and up. And then I'm going to get into my inner thighs by turning over to one side and bringing this top leg, or the front leg, in front of my foam roller. And then that allows me to get further into my inner thigh here on the other leg. So just kind of play around with it. You really got to experiment with your own body and your own movement, but see if you can work into this inner crevice between your pelvic floor and your leg. See if you can get in there. You're probably gonna find that's pretty sensitive and tight. So we wanna get right in there, and then you can kind of roll back and forth like this toward the floor, rolling into the front of the hip crease there, or toward it, and then back into the crease in the back of the leg. I don't know about you, but that feels very necessary to me. Very good. And just work in there wherever you find a spot that needs some more attention. Maybe more in the inner thigh. Good stuff, right? Okay, so you can spend more time if you want. I'm gonna switch over to the other side. So I'm gonna bring, this is the easier way to get into the position, just starting with both legs on top. And then bring your front leg out to the side and extend the other leg out. All right, so trying to find that crease, rolling back and forth on that. Oh yeah, lots of tightness in there. You can also roll on the inner thigh, down a little bit further. Rolling back and forth, see how your leg feels on the side. And then I'm going to get further up into that crease line, moving from the back of the leg into the front. Rolling side to side here. Alrighty, I'm gonna finish with just rolling the back of my legs a little bit. Getting those hamstrings rolled out, feels good. I always love rolling my calves, which tend to cramp a lot for me during pregnancy. Oh, one more foam rolling. So, you may be surprised to know that your lats, which travel down your back on the outside of your back, can also affect your pelvis. So if you have tight lats, this side area, it may cause pulling in your pelvis. So we want to make sure we roll those out a bit. So you can start all the way flat on your back, rolling up and down. Hips are off the floor, and then turn to one side, just leaning a bit over to one side. You can let your hips drop on the floor and roll up and down. Woo-wee. When you get towards your waist and in that rib cage, you may really feel where that tension is, particularly around the rib cage, the back of the rib cage, working all into that area. And up in here, around, up towards the armpit, the bra strap area. It's a really good one to focus on. And let's finish on the other side. Getting up on those ribs. Ooh. So good. I'm glad I'm taking the time to do this. My body definitely needs it. And roll side to side into those ribs, up underneath the armpit. All right, that is it for today, you guys. I hope that helped. Try and do that a couple weeks as you get closer to your due date. Good job.